You know, you bring that up. That's funny because I actually was reading something. And it's like, I have like, if you don't know, I have like comic books all over my desk. It's like a mess of comic books. But I read something by Vita Ayala, and it said, for many, stories serve two critical functions. One, they reflect a world around us, showing us who we are, what we care about, and how we need to go to be better. And two, they allow us to escape our reality for fantastical elsewheres that embody hope, empowerment, revenge, and all manners and other emotions and experiences we may be longing for and lacking in our own lives. That's kind of the whole point of why we talk about movies, why we talk about these comic books, why we read. It's because it's a chance to step outside of your daily life and kind of imagine and live in your imagination a little bit, and as we said, like a lot of these things reflect what real life happens. That's why X-Men happened, during civil rights. That's why Black Panther was so important because Kirby, said, okay, during the civil rights movement, we need a character that reflects this stuff. Like all these things happen, and it reflects what was happening during that time period. And I think that's probably my favorite part about all the comic books and all the stuff that I read is, it reflects the timing and gives you a chance to even change things that are happening for the better. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
kind of put that out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's really it's interesting because like the first part says it reflects real life, but then the second part is like
But
that part of it is like, but it also takes you out of real life. So it kind of like, here's real life, but here's what real life could be, or
exactly.
here's kind of like, you know, an exaggerated version of real life, and hopefully it's a good one, obviously,
Mm.
you guys and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean that's like representation. That's why like when I made that video, when we made that video about supporting Blue Beetle and the importance of supporting Blue Beetle, the same way it's like important supporting like Black Panther is a big deal. It's like you get to see yourself on screen, but then you get to see an exaggerated over like just over the top kind of version of what you could be, and you're like, oh look, here's this for like say Blue Beetle, here's this young kid, has all the things that I have as a
Hey,
Hispanic Latino
hey,
household, but
hey,
then
his family is like my family. Hey,
exactly,
and then
yeah,
I can see myself being that superhero,
yeah,
doing super heroic things, and being a hero doesn't mean you have to have superpowers. Which I always come back to that. But
hmm,
being able to have that is so big and actually encourages you to do great things and not to be
yeah,
afraid to step outside of yourself and outside your comfort zone because that's what all
hmm,
these heroes do: step outside their
yeah,
comfort zone.
yeah.
So
Even like something like Black Panther, where it's like it's what if Africa was without like in the invasion? What if there's this
mm,
little spot that was never invaded, and somehow it got like all the greatness of the alien tech, a meteorite, I guess. I don't know. Like, vibranium is technically like a meteorite metal. But then you can still insert yourself with something like that with T'Challa and Shuri. They're like joking and hanging out in the movie. Like, hey, you might have a sibling like that. You may have a mother like that. Very like be proper. Like that. That's always the thing. Like, hey, don't be goofy, don't be silly. Don't like be So yeah, I mean, there's stuff you can always like connect with, and then like be wishful for. And I think
mhm.
what like comics do
I,
best.
I, I agree. I mean, having a great country to be able to reflect. I mean, that's what whole Wakanda was about. It was about having a country to kind of show what could happen, and that a country could be great like that. So I always thought that was awesome, and that
Hmm.
having that representation during the right time. And that's why I like the new stuff. I like seeing where we're going. That's why I like independence sometimes because independents are more willing to take those leaps. But
Yeah.
that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah. So
I see.
I do see that, Kevin. But yeah,
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that later. Yeah.
yeah. But we got
What's
Tony.
up,
What's
Tony?
it's Spoiler Kings, Mama. I like that. But yeah, man. Yeah, that's why like like um comic books, and I think that's kind of the MCU needs to figure that part out. Like
Mhm.
it's easier to do it on paper, I think, because you can be exaggerated. You can have a little goofy dialogue and stuff like that. Like, and you can obviously go crazy with like the excuse me, the action and all that stuff. Where like it's hard to maybe take a giant like explosion and put it on the screen without it looking too like cheap or without spending a lot of money.
Mhm.
And then a lot of dialogue and stuff like that. But the MCU needs to figure that out. I think they started off doing it well, with us connecting to characters, and it kind of fell off a little bit because then I don't know what it was. I know we said it could have been a bunch of different things. This oversaturation could be one.
Yeah.
They tried doing it with Kamala. And I thought they did it pretty well, but it should have been done in a movie. I think that might have hit a little bit better, maybe. Um,
The MCU
yeah,
just has so many different issues. It's
yeah,
so hard. Because I feel like they understand that you need a representation. So and when you look at the first 15 years, you realize that it's a lot of male dominated in the stories, right? So
yeah,
they realize that they need to change it, right? But then they changed different things all at the same time instead of let it naturally find its natural groove of changing things the right way. And they got a lot of hate that it didn't really wasn't warranted, but it still came.
yeah,
Um, then I think it's important that they figure this stuff out before X-Men comes in because X-Men is all these movements, the women's movement, the civil rights movement, all those movements are all within X-Men. That's what it's all about.
yeah,
Having that representation. And you better figure this stuff out before you open up that can.
yeah. It's. I think they have a chance to figure it out. Hopefully, um, you know, they did it with Loki. I think they did it pretty well with Loki. They even did it with WandaVision, just like you know, because like WandaVision was grief and losing and how to handle grief, but then it's also
Mhm.
how do you handle grief when you're possibly the strongest person
In the
in
world,
the
yeah.
world? It's like where you can literally change reality. Then what do you do? It's like and but even like Loki, it's like you're taken out of your world and you're kind of given a new vision of life. So it's kind of like you're able to connect with these. They take simple human scenarios or feelings or situations or whatever, and then they're able to exaggerate it. Just like what you said, it's a reflection, and then it's like
I
exaggeration.
I 100% agree, but I think they did it even with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That
Yeah.
was all it was about, and people pushed back and hated it so much. I'm like, for me, it's great, but
Hmm.
if someone doesn't try to understand it, then I can understand why you say no.
Yeah.
This is not good. But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what do you think about Feige using Secret Wars to reset the MCU
I
and
that
then
that's the big
bringing it?
rumor. That's the big rumor is that this is the Secret War is gonna bring everyone together, all the different universes together, and then it's gonna restart with another main timeline, and it's gonna keep
Hmm.
the best of the best. So we possibly could get a new Iron Man, new Captain America. The Fantastic Four are going to be in there. X Men. It's a good way to obviously introduce X Men, and then everything else.
You
So
cast T'Challa. You could do all those things in
yeah,
Battle World. I think Battle World is one of those things. I knew that line can change everything,
yep,
and I think it might be smart for them to do this. Give them a
yeah,
chance to reset everything.